I didn't think a smoothie could start a fight. I didn't think something so small, a cold drink on a hot day, could make someone cry, or go quiet, or pull away from me like I'd done something cruel. I thought I was being thoughtful, sweet. I thought I was doing something good. But here I am, lying awake next to a woman who won't even look at me, wondering if I really screwed this whole thing up. So here it is. You tell me. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend what smoothie flavor she wanted? Her name's Evangeline. She's 23. I'm 24. We've been together just over 2 years, living together for about 6 months now. It's good. We laugh. We're stupid together. We got our routines. It's not perfect, but it works. And she's pregnant. About 4 months along. It's a ride. Mood swings, nausea, cravings, the works. I try to be patient. I really do. I'm not the guy who panics over hormones. I know pregnancy messes with your body, your brain, your emotions. I signed up for all of it. But man, this smoothie thing really threw me. So, earlier this week, I was coming home from work. It was a long day. I'd been on my feet for most of it. I skipped lunch, and I just wanted to get home, maybe take my shoes off, maybe hold her a bit and crash. But then I remembered she mentioned smoothies a couple nights before. She gets cravings now. Random ones. Usually fruit, cold stuff, nothing too crazy. She had said something like, God, I could live off strawberry banana smoothies right now. So I thought, hey, I'll swing by the smoothie place, grab her favorite, surprise her. Thought I'd earn some boyfriend points. I even got her to size up with the extra chia seeds or whatever the hell she always adds. I walk in with it, feeling kind of proud. Hand it to her. She looks up from the couch, and her face drops. She says, oh, I don't really feel like banana. Okay, no problem. I ask, want me to grab you a different one? She says yes. So I ask, which one do you want? She shrugs. I wait a second. Then I say, I kind of need to know what flavor to get you. She says, just get me what I like. And that's when things started to unravel. I told her, gently, that I honestly didn't know what else she liked. She always got strawberry banana. Always. I didn't say it like I was mad. I just needed to know what to order. I couldn't read her mind. She gave me this look. Not angry. Just frustrated. You know the other one, she said. I've had it before. I told her, I'm sorry, babe, but I really don't. You've never asked for anything else. Then it was quiet for a second. Then she started to cry. Not like sobbing, not like yelling. Just those quiet, leaking tears that somehow feel worse. Like I'd broken something inside her with the dumbest conversation imaginable. She said, you're putting too much pressure on me over a smoothie. And I just stood there, completely stunned, because I wasn't trying to pressure her. I just wanted to know what flavor she wanted. That's it. That's all I was asking. But to her, it felt like something else. She barely spoke to me for the rest of the night, ate dinner in silence, went to bed early, turned her back to me. I offered to run out and grab every smoothie flavor they had, just to make her feel better. But she said no. I kept thinking, did I mess this up? Did I say something wrong? Was I supposed to guess the right one? Was asking her to tell me what she wanted too much? I know pregnancy makes things hard. I know hormones are wild. I know she's going through changes I'll never understand. And I want to be patient. I want to show up for her in the right ways. But what do you do when showing up backfires? What do you do when trying to be thoughtful turns into being the bad guy? Because I swear to God, I wasn't trying to make her cry. I wasn't trying to start a fight. I just want to bring her a damn smoothie, the kind she always drinks, and make her smile, but I guess I got it wrong. And now I don't know if I'm the jerk here, or just a guy in the wrong place at the wrong emotional time. So, yeah, that's it. That's the story of how I may have become the villain. Over frozen fruit and almond milk. Ida?
I didn't plan on being the center of attention that night. I wasn't the bride. I wasn't even part of the wedding party. I was just a guest, a cousin, hoping to show up, blend in, hand over a gift, eat some cake, smile for photos, and maybe cry a little during the vows. That's all I wanted. But a few conversations and one person's obsession with a version of me that doesn't even exist anymore turned everything upside down. Now my cousin isn't speaking to me. People are whispering behind my back. And I can't tell if I really did something wrong or if I'm just being made into the villain of a story I didn't even know I was in. So here it is. You tell me, am I the asshole for ruining my cousin's wedding? Let me start from the beginning, not the wedding, but before that. Back in uni, I had this short thing with a guy in my course. I don't even know if relationship is the right word. We talked. We spent time together. He was sweet in that polished kind of way, like he always knew what to say. But it didn't last long. Not because he was awful, or because I cheated, or anything dramatic. I ended it. I needed to learn how to be on my own. You see, I'd never lived independently. My parents, amazing, generous, supportive, did everything for me. Cooked, cleaned, paid for everything. And I was so grateful. But also, I didn't know how to function as my own person. I didn't know who I was without someone constantly holding my hand. And he wanted to settle down. Like, settle down. Marriage, mortgages, Sunday roast dinners, and checking in before I went anywhere, even if it was just to visit a friend. He wanted control, packages care. It didn't sit right with me. So I walked away, not with anger, just knowing we weren't right. We finished uni life, moved on. I didn't think about him much. I started working, carving out space for myself, building a life I could finally call my own. I was proud of who I was becoming. Independent, capable, calm. Until the wedding. My cousin, let's call her Tara, was getting married. Big event, big family. I wasn't super close to her, but close enough to be invited. I RSVP'd, yes, picked out a dress, and told myself it would be fine. I didn't know he'd be there. Or his wife. She had gone to uni with us too, part of our course, though we never really talked. Apparently, somewhere between finals and grad caps, they'd found each other, got married, built that domestic life he'd always dreamed of, just not with me. And that was okay. Truly, I wasn't bitter. I didn't even feel weird seeing them together. If anything, I felt relief. I dodged something I wasn't ready for back then, and I was finally living on my own terms. Everything was fine until it wasn't. She came over to my table during dinner. His wife, smiling, casual, polite. She asked why she hadn't seen me at graduation. I told her I hadn't gone. Both of my grandmothers passed away that week. Their funerals were on the same day. I didn't mention the rest, that I also have terrible social anxiety, that the idea of walking up on stage in front of hundreds of people made me physically ill, that I'd felt so alone back then, even with a degree in my hands. I just said it didn't feel right to go. She asked about my career. I told her I was in teaching and that I loved it. She smiled, tilted her head, then said, "My husband doesn't care about you anymore, you know." I blinked. I wasn't even thinking about him. I hadn't said his name. I hadn't looked at him. But she said it like I'd been staring across the room with envy, like I'd been plotting some grand seduction. I just kind of laughed, awkwardly. I said something like, "That's good to hear." Because what else do you say? I thought maybe she was nervous, insecure. Weddings can be emotional. Maybe she needed to say it out loud to believe it. So I let it go. I stood up, smiled, and excused myself to another table. My cousin's table, the kind of seat where people don't really know each other and just share polite nods over the cheesecake. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. She found me again about 20 minutes later. I don't know if she'd been drinking or if this was just her personality, but she cornered me by the dessert table. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're jealous of us." I blinked. "Excuse me, you skipped graduation because you didn't want to see us together." "I didn't even know you were together," I said. She ignored it. "You think he still wants you, don't you?" "But he doesn't. He's mine. You had your chance and you blew it." I could feel people turning to look at us. The chatter got quieter. My face burned. I didn't fight back. I didn't scream or argue or cry. I just nodded, smiled, said, "Okay," and walked away. Because what was the point? She had already decided who I was in her head. I was the evil ex, lurking in the shadows. I was the jealous one, the one who couldn't let go, The one ruining her perfect wedding guest list with my existence. I didn't want to be a character in her drama. I gave my cousin her gift, hugged her goodbye, and left. I thought it was the right thing to do. To remove myself before it escalated. Before people really noticed. But I guess they did notice. Because 3 days later, my cousin messaged me. She was furious. She said I had ruined the reception. That there had been tension, whispers, people asking questions. That the bride, she, was upset and crying in the bathroom. That it was my fault for starting a fight. I told her the truth. That I hadn't started anything. That I had walked away every time. That I didn't even know they were together until that night. That I'd said maybe 10 words to her before she went off on me. But she wasn't having it. You led him on, she wrote. This all started with you. If you hadn't strung him along in uni, none of this would have happened. And that's what really broke me. I was 19 when I met him. 19. I didn't even know what I wanted to eat for dinner most nights, let alone who I was meant to marry. I was still figuring out how to be a person. I didn't cheat. I didn't ghost him. I didn't manipulate him. I just realized it wasn't right and I left. Respectfully. And now, years later, at someone else's wedding, I'm being dragged back into it like I never moved on. Like I'm still 19 and selfish and naive and playing with people's hearts. But I'm not. I'm a grown woman, living alone, working hard, teaching kids, paying bills, building a quiet little life that I'm finally proud of. A life I chose. So tell me, did I ruin the wedding? Or did I just become the scapegoat for someone else's insecurities? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't flip tables or throw drinks. I just existed. And apparently, that was enough to make me the villain. So yata.
I'm going to tell you about the moment everything broke apart during what was supposed to be a peaceful family vacation. Just one night, one walk through a lit-up city, and it felt like the ground cracked open underneath us. You know those moments, when everything you've been holding in just explodes. That was me. And now I can't stop wondering if I was the one who ruined everything. My dad is 56. My mom is 52. And me. I'm 21, stuck somewhere between being a daughter and being the unofficial referee in this weird, complicated family dynamic. We were on vacation in a beautiful city, somewhere warm and old and full of life. We were staying for a week, just the three of us, and my brother, though he's not really part of this story. For the first few days, things were already off. My dad and brother had this energy. A little dismissive, a little superior. It was subtle, but it was there. The eye rolls. The way they'd walk ahead of us when we were out. The way they'd talk over my mom like she wasn't fully in the room. First, I brushed it off. That's just how they are, right? That's just dad being dad. But it wasn't until this one night that I realized just how toxic it had become. We were walking through the city after dinner. There was some kind of event. Music, street performers, maybe fireworks. The sky was turning this deep indigo. Streetlights flickering on like stars one by one. It was supposed to be a nice, slow evening stroll. The kind of thing you remember years later. Instead, it became the thing I can't forget for all the wrong reasons. My mom has a bad knee. It's not something new, she's been dealing with it for a while now. And she's been told not to put too much pressure on it, not to walk too fast or push too hard. That night, she told my dad 4 separate times to slow down. Not angrily, not dramatically. Just a quiet, "Hey, could you slow down? My knee's starting to hurt." But every time she asked, he just kept walking. He didn't look back. Didn't acknowledge her. Nothing. The first time I told myself maybe he didn't hear. The second time I thought okay, maybe he's just lost in his own thoughts. By the third time I started feeling that tight, hot anger you get in your chest. The kind that simmers. By the fourth time I was furious. Eventually he did slow down, but not because he cared. He was waiting for us to catch up. When we finally did, my mom was limping, trying hard not to show it. She asked again, "Please slow down. We can take it easy." This was supposed to be a relaxing night. You'd think that would register. But he scoffed, rolled his eyes like she was being dramatic. And then he said, "Why don't you go on ahead? Led for once instead of lagging behind." It was the way he said it. Cold, condescending, like we were burdens. I looked at my mom. She didn't say anything. She never does. She just kept walking, like maybe if she pretended it didn't hurt, it wouldn't. But I couldn't keep pretending. I couldn't watch it happen anymore. Snap. I looked right at him and said, "You're being a dickhead." It was harsh. I know it was. And I didn't say it to be edgy or cool or brave. I said it because I'd reached my breaking point. Because he wasn't just being rude, he was being cruel. He was watching the woman he's supposed to love limp behind him, and all he could do was roll his eyes. I couldn't stomach it anymore. I added something like, "You could show a little sympathy," and that was it. He went quiet. So did we. The rest of the walk was in dead silence, the air heavy and sharp between us. When we got back to the hotel or apartment, whatever it was, we barely looked at each other. No yelling, no fighting, just this icy silence. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. The next morning he was gone before we woke up. No note, no message, nothing. Just vanished for a walk by himself. My mom and I got ready, still a little shaken, and went out to get lunch. We thought maybe we could smooth things over, bring back something nice, make peace in the quiet way we always do. We brought back his favorite food, set the table, waited. He didn't touch it, not a bite. Instead, he made his own food in the kitchen, loudly, deliberately, like a protest, like he wanted us to hear the chopping, the clattering, the message behind every movement. "I'm not eating what you brought. I'm not acknowledging you." And then he turned to me and said, "Grow up." Those words hit harder than I thought they would. He said I needed to do something with my life, that I was immature, that I was ruining everything. And then he started twisting the story, saying I'd called him worse than I had, that I called him a son of a bitch, among other things, which I hadn't. But that's the thing, he does this. When he's mad, he rewrites the narrative. He builds a villain out of me to justify his tantrum. And then came the final blow. He said he was done with this vacation, that he was going home. We came in his car, so my mom asked, "Are we supposed to take the train back?" He didn't answer, just walked away. And that was the moment it all felt beyond repair. I looked at my mom, and for the first time in a long time, I saw real sadness in her eyes. Not frustration, not annoyance, just this deep, bone-tired sadness. Like she wasn't even surprised, like she expected it, like she was used to it. And I realized, I wasn't just angry anymore. I was exhausted. I was exhausted from being the one who always calls it out, from watching the same patterns repeat over and over, from watching the way he talks to her, from seeing the eye rolls, the dismissiveness, the lack of care. I was tired of watching someone I love shrink herself to keep the peace. And maybe I was also tired of shrinking myself. I know I can be harsh. I know I can be sarcastic and snarky and too sharp when I'm angry. I don't pretend to be perfect. But I also know what I saw. And I know what I felt. And I know that calling him out wasn't about wanting to fight. It was about finally not letting it slide. That night we ate dinner without him. Just me and my mom. Quietly. The food was good, but it tasted like nothing. Later he came back in. Sat down across from me in the dark living room. For a moment I thought he was going to lash out again. Instead he said something I never expected. He said, "I'm sorry." Just like that. I should have listened. I didn't mean to treat you like that. I didn't realize your mom was hurting that badly. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. He looked tired, older than I'd ever seen him. And I could tell. It wasn't easy for him to say. I didn't know what to say back, so I just nodded. The next morning we went out again. Same streets, same air, same sunlight. But this time he walked slower. Didn't rush. Didn't complain. He just matched our pace. Without being asked. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it was something. So maybe the vacation wasn't ruined. Maybe it was just cracked. And maybe, sometimes, things need to crack open before they can be put back together differently. I still think about that night. I still wonder if I went too far. If I said the wrong thing. If I should have kept quiet. But I also know this. Sometimes the only way people hear you is when your voice finally shakes the room. And maybe, just maybe, this time, it needed to be heard. So, was I the asshole? Or was I just the first one who finally said something out loud?